Hello, Ellen, and thank you for your time. I know how precious it is. In 15 minutes of your time, you can cover an average of 4 miles when racing. So, once again, thank you for your time. First of all, what do you know about Romania?
What do I know about Romania? I've been to Central Europe, but I've been to Czech. I've been to Prague, but I've never been as far as Romania. I've read stories about people who've travelled through those countries, but I know very little about it. I think you could teach me a lot more than I know.
At least I can tell you a name.
It's got no coast.
Jimmy Cornell.
Yeah.
He's Romanian. He's born Romanian. Yeah.
That I didn't know. I have his book. I had his book when I was.
He was
probably. I think I had it for Christmas for my 15th birthday. Ocean cruising routes.
How is life when sailing in a race, or should I rather say surviving when racing?
Life in a race, or particularly in the last record attempt, is incredibly stressful. So you're struggling to sleep, you're on edge all the time, you're never hungry really because you're always stressed. You eat because you have to eat, and you're living in a machine in some ways that is moving very violently, so it's very hard to move around, it's very hard to do anything, and it's very, very hard to sleep.
How much sleep do you have in average in 24 hours? I heard about a French skipper who said in average he has 4 hours, and I read an interview when you said you train to sleep for most 20 minutes at a time.
You sleep when you can. You never know how long you will sleep for when you fall asleep. So it may be 2 minutes, it may be 2 hours. The most I ever slept for was 3 hours.
During the 2005 record, huh?
Yeah, the longest ever was 3 hours in
3 hours?
In one go. But the average over a day varied from area to area. I think the average in total was just under 5 hours. But in the Southern Ocean, there were times when I slept 20 minutes in 3 days. So it could be pretty bad, and your sleep is completely related to the weather that your boat's sailing through at the time. Because if the weather's changeable, then you're not asleep.
How do you spend your time? What do you do exactly when racing? How do you spread your time among different activities?
In the round the world record attempt, I had no rigging problems and I had no sail damage, so I was really, really careful with the sails. My time was spent navigating, making sure I was sailing in the right direction, checking the boat, going all over the boat, making sure things were okay. Some repairs, fixing the generator, and obviously a lot of time on deck changing sails, which takes a long time on a very big boat because the sails are very heavy.
What is your second biggest success after the record from 2005?
Probably completing the Round Britain solo sail when I was 19 years old. I left at 18, finished at 19, and I had relatively little experience, and I tried to sail a boat that was 21 feet long right around the coast of Great Britain. It took me 4.5 months, and it was extremely difficult to do that at that age with that amount of experience in a very, very small boat. I think many people always see the biggest achievements as being the achievements that got the most pages in the magazines, but for me personally, I know how hard each stage has been, and that was a big challenge.
And what's your biggest failure? Is it somehow the second place in Vendée Globe?
Biggest failure? The Vendée wasn't a failure. Most people didn't think I'd finish in the top 10 boats, let alone second. I learned a huge amount in the Vendée. There was a shame to have hit the container in the North Atlantic. It was a shame to break the forestay. I had been in the lead of the race. Could I have won the race if I hadn't hit the container? I don't know. That's just life. Maybe I was never meant to win the Vendée. I don't know. So no, I would never consider the Vendée as a failure. In fact, from a sailing perspective, the biggest disappointment has been losing the mast in the Jules Verne in 2002. We sailed in the Southern Ocean, beginning of 2003, in the middle of the Southern Ocean near the Kerguelen Islands, 100 miles from the Kerguelen Islands. We lost the mast, and that had been a huge amount of effort and a massive project to get the boat ready, and which all went bang.
But was this your fault?
No one knows whose fault it was, and it was certainly not the fault of anyone specifically. We don't actually know why the mast fell down. But what we do know is we were doing our best. We still had a very real chance of breaking the record, and we were. Everything on the boat seemed fine. It's just sometimes things don't go your way, and that didn't go our way, and we lost the mast, and we headed into Australia. But that was disappointing.
And how come you didn't sail the last year Vendée Globe. What happened? Were you busy with the record?
Yeah. Yeah, same time.
Will you race the next one?
I'm not planning to race the next Vendée. No. I had to make a decision whether I was going to do it last year and decided not to do the next one. But we are building a boat for that race and for the Barcelona World Race, and that will be sailed by a team of sailors, one of whom will be me, but I won't be doing the round the world races.
How come it doesn't tempt you to run the next Vendée Globe?
It does tempt me, but I'm also human, and I've been doing this for 13 years non-stop, sailing 6 months of every year at sea, and sometimes you have to stand back a little bit and say, I shouldn't do that, because if I do that, I will finish and say that's it, and I don't want to be in that position.
What do you prefer, monohulls or multi-hulls, and why?
I prefer boats. I love boats, any kind of boat.
Doesn't matter.
When I was small, I liked monohulls. Then got more experience on multi-hulls. I realised that you can sail a multi-hull around the world. It's very fast, and there are certain things that help with that speed. There are pluses and minuses to all kinds of boats.
Yes. They built the B&Q Castorama on your size, I understood. Huh? Wasn't it easier to sail it?
No.
No?
She's a 75-foot trimaran. She's a very big, powerful boat. Full stop. The only things that were changed in her for me were the heights of the winches and the heights of the cabin. The rest, there's no hydraulic winches, there's no electric winches, everything's manual. So it's irrelevant what size you are, you still have to sail the same boat.
What's your most important fear when you're sailing?
Fear of failure, which includes death.
Failure?
Not winning the race, not finishing the race, not surviving the race, that kind of failure. We've always done everything with ourselves. We started off, there were two of us, myself and Mark Turner. We both loved sailing. We went and competed in a race in 2 different boats, but we worked together on the project. And after that, Mark decided not to sail. He would do more the management side, and I would go sailing. And we've worked together for the last 10 years. And over 10 years, the company has grown, and the projects have got bigger and more adventurous, and the boats have got bigger, and this is where we are now. We started running races in 2004. We now own 3 events. And
is it true that you are as well as successful in business as you are in sailing?
I think we've certainly done very well with regard to giving back to the sponsors. We set out to do that because the sport of solo sailing wouldn't exist without sponsorship.
This is what they pay for.
It has to work. We don't go and buy our own boats and go racing. We work with a sponsor to make the projects happen, so it's absolutely crucial. We always believed that, and that's why in the sponsorship world we've been successful.
Yeah. In rough figures, how much it costed the record in 2005?
A rough figure.
We don't normally talk about figures, and certainly I can tell you that the feedback, the press feedback that came back was over 50 times the amount that Kingfisher put in. I can't say boats aren't expensive, they are expensive, but it's a fraction of doing the Volvo Ocean Race, it's a tiny fraction of doing the America's Cup. It's several million euros, but it's not...
It's in million euros, not exceeding 10 millions, huh?
Oh, no.
Huh? It's
and building a boat like that obviously costs money when you build the boat at the other side of the world, but it's the good thing about around the world non-stop is that you build the boat, you prepare the boat, and then there's no more costs because you're away.
Yeah.
It's not like you're stopping in many places and you need hotels and containers. You're actually...
you're alone, it's a fixed cost.
Hopefully. Vunt din pupa.
Thanks a lot, Ella.
How do you say thank you in Romanian?
Mulțumesc.
Mulțumesc.